Clearly, something has happened on the earth over the ages. It's not always been status quo, how we're living now. There have been bottlenecks in population. Had there not been bottlenecks in population, I mean, we'd be stacked on top of each other 60 stories high without an inch between us. There have to have been bottlenecks in human population over the eras, which means near extinctions. And there have to have been cataclysms, worldwide cataclysms, because we see this stuff. We see cities on the ocean floor, pyramids on the ocean floor, you know, all of these lost cities, they're on the ocean floor. So something has changed. And the Bible talks about these eras when we just saw a new island rise off of Afghanistan during a major earthquake. But the Bible's really clear. It talks a lot about these periodic cataclysms that have come throughout all of history. And our planet bears witness to those, you know, whether it's the asteroid craters that form the Gulf of Mexico, or whether it's these lost cities on the ocean floor. Yet for some reason, mainstream science will not acknowledge the records left by our ancestors. The records left by our ancestors are very clear that there was a global cataclysm where the firmament was broken and waters from above the biosphere flooded in at the same time that massive earthquakes and everything shifted and broke the earth, which was Eden, into puzzle pieces, which now we call the continents. It was one big Pangean continent. There was no land bridge, people, that were trying to figure out how people got from one continent to another. They were trapped on there when they floated apart. Read the records left by our ancestors. Look at the Grand Canyon. This wasn't eroded away over billions and billions of years. This was an earthquake. This was part of that global cataclysm that we know as Noah's flood. It was completely flooded. Earth broke apart right there. And this erosion comes from as the waters, the global flood waters receded. They receded into these channels and drained off into the oceans. And that's how we have the landscape that we have now. But that wasn't always the landscape. It was Eden. There was perfect irrigation and everything before the collapse of the biosphere. And we know that the earth was completely covered in water because here you go, high and dry sea creatures. That fossils of sea creatures have been found on the highest mountains on planet Earth. Fossils, here we go. Marine fossils are also found high in the Himalayas, the world's tallest mountain range, reaching up to 29,029 feet above sea level. So, and then it gives them, you know, the different types of fossils they found, and that's really common. Here's the, you know, other mountains. I'll put these links on there so you guys can look this up, but this happened. There is an explanation for this. The layers of sediment that we have circular thinking, we're dating the creatures in our geological column by the layer of sediment they're in. And then we're dating the layers of sediment by the creatures we find in them. Can you guys not see the circular thinking there? How did we get duped like this? It's ridiculous. You can call it whatever you want, but you can't call it science. So what on earth could cause that kind of a cataclysm that would change the entire landscape of a planet and break the continents apart like puzzle pieces? Well, it's recorded in every culture, not just in the Bible. It talks about, you've got it in the Chinese guest star. It talks about this extra star coming into the sky, Constantine seeing a cross in the sky. You have the Egyptians recording first one giant extra moon or sun-shaped orb light, and then over the course of a week several other joined it like a planetary system. You have these drawings from Germany. All of this, it's I'm going to put this video, this Gill Brousard, like him, love him, it really doesn't matter. This is a pretty good timeline of this orbit of this, because it's been mapped out. It's elliptical, so it's not the same every single time. Sometimes it's further away and sometimes it's closer. But like the Tower of Babel, the destruction of the Tower of Babel happened at the same time as the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, which said fireballs and meteors rained down. And, you know, so this is a cosmic event. This is a celestial event. This Joshua's long day, remember, not only with the fireballs and everything, but he said that the sun stood still, which means that the planet didn't spin. Which here he has it marked on these two. That was when the Earth's axis tilted. Again, our scientists today just want to kind of act like, well, this is how our planet works. Well, no, it didn't. It didn't always work that way. The axis tilted from this cataclysm, and more than once. And we just saw that with the huge Japan Fukushima quake. They said, oh, well, the Earth's axis tilted another, you know, whatever degrees, 1 degree or something like that, 2 degrees from that earthquake. And it's like, no, what are you talking about? You have that backwards. The earthquake happened because of the pole shift. It's how they can see everything backwards and declare themselves so wise just cracks me up. No, the earthquake did not tilt the Earth's axis. The pole shift caused a symptom, which was the earthquake in Fukushima, the plates, the actual plates of the continent shifting from the Earth tilting, from the axis, the pole shift we've been talking about. Likewise, you know, they see everything backwards with the climate chaos. It's everything has to be so man-centric. You know, they're such tiny thinkers. You know, they think, oh, well, we had an earthquake that affected this little nation, so that little earthquake moved the entire pole of the earth. It's like, or, you know, maybe the pole shift caused the earthquake. And it's the same with climate chaos. It's all those rednecks driving those SUVs. That is changing all the weather, even on planets in the outer solar system. We're seeing tugs on planets in the outer solar system. We're seeing clouds formation and disappearances that we have never seen in all of our recording of the other planets. Major climate changes on these other planets. But, you know, because we're seeing climate change and radical shifting and stuff on our planet, oh, it has to be SUVs. And, you know, like people did it. No, the climate chaos, the radical weather shifts are all part of this approaching, whatever it is, planet. Some say, you know, it's a dwarf star or planet. Whatever it is, it's been reported throughout all of history. Joshua's long day, the sun stood still. It didn't set. It stood still. And at the same time, on the other side of the planet, they reported that there was darkness. They had a full day of darkness and the sun never rose. So it's all, you know, it's all verified. And it's again, not just in the Bible. At the crucifixion of Christ, they had an enormous global earthquake where they said, surely this was the Son of God. And they said that there was a solar eclipse that lasted 3 hours. You know, the flat earthers and all those guys have been talking about this. There's something else eclipsing, like something's not right. And you can go listen to their thing. I'm not getting into that right now. But there is indeed records in all of the mystery schools and the occult about this other object in the sky, this black sun. So over the ages, we have seen all of the, like this is the Nazis, the floor of their castle where the SS met, where Himmler and his SS met, and they had, you know, it was their cult meeting place, and they had this symbol of the black sun on their floor, and they worshipped the black sun. There was the Order of the Black Sun, and then if you go, you can, I've gone down this tangent, and I haven't been able to research it as deeply as I like. I just don't have the time to research every single thing, but this says, you know, like the Nazi Tibetan connection, there's the Aryan cult connection, politics, Reich of the Black Sun, you know, Genesis to the myths, and anyway, and then Black Sun conspiracy. You know, some of these are written the way L.A. Marzulli does, writes in a novel style, and some of them are just documentary style. But anyway, have been throughout, you know, all eras recorded this black sun, this mysterious black sun. And, you know, the flat earthers, they talk about the this extra yin and yang object in the sky that's not visible, and everyone's, oh, you know, that's crazy, that's just esoteric nonsense. And then here's this, and we have seen stuff like this before, but this just was out on the news feed 2 days ago. Front page, MSN, this isn't some weird conspiracy site. This was on the front page of the Yahoo news feed and on the science, you know, feeds and stuff. And it is, astronomers discover a pitch black planet that reflects almost zero sunlight. And it goes on to say, the research team from this university in Canada, used the Hubble Space Telescope to catch a glimpse of WASP 12b in hopes of learning more about it. What they soon realized was that the planet is so impossibly dark that it almost completely blends into the darkness of space. And it says they measured it, and it was 0.064 reflectivity. Says an extremely low value, making the planet darker than fresh asphalt. So all these stories about this black sun that were passed down from the ancients and that the Nazis accumulated from their you know, studies with the Tibetans and the Aryan race and all of that. And now we see there really are, or they're admitting to it, or they're at the very least doing the predictive programming phase where they're getting us ready. You know how I always talk about their predictive programming, how they start to release stories into the masses so that we don't panic when events happen. Like before 9/11, you know, all of the terrorist shows, 24, and, you know, everything came out and everybody was ready. So when it happened, there wasn't mass panic. And so whether it exists or it doesn't exist, at the very least, we are seeing, this was from 2 days ago, oh, here we go, 3 days ago, starting to release these stories about this, you know, that there could be pitch black, non-reflective planets. Anyway, I know a lot of people have dismissed the Planet X thing, and that's up to you. Take it to God. But I did take it to God, the night vision that I received, or part of it. I'll put the link down there below so you can watch the whole thing if you want, but this is part of it.
So what I saw was, and I'm going to put a little picture up, because I took a picture out of my backyard where the sky was all pink and stuff, and then I put about the size circles on there that was the size of the planets. So it was huge. I mean, it took up the entire horizon. They were so close. It was terrifying, and I could see them through the trees. So anyway, that's what I saw. I'll put the picture right here. And that was it. I had gone to the window. We'd gone to the window and saw these enormous, and there was already something going on. So I don't think this will be the first event in the series of events as these end times progress, because we were already gathered as a family. And of course we could have been gathered for a holiday or something, but it felt more like we were gathered as a family because things were bad, and so we were clinging together. And we were all in the house together, and yeah, I went and looked out the window, and there they were, taking up the whole sky essentially, and it was something to see. The red one was, it was like, it had stripes, it was like striped, sort of like how Jupiter is, and it was black with like red shining through, almost looked lava, like lava-like, with fire shining through, and sort of reminded me of hell, you know, what you'd think hell would look like. You know, it was like charred, black looking, with like cracks, with fire and lava kind of shooting out, you know, showing through. The other one right next to it looked like a moon. Looked like our moon, sort of. It was the same color, sort of same landscape looking. You know, might have been our moon. I don't know. In Isaiah, it talks about the Earth being removed from its moorings, you know, its gravitational orbit, and you know, so we could have repositioned, and these could have been other planets. I don't know what, you know, it wasn't like, oh, it had a big Planet X label on it or anything. but that's what I saw.
So when I mentioned that verse in Isaiah about the earth being moved out of its orbit and stuff, that's very true. People, when it says the Bible, this great tribulation that's coming, that it'll be unlike anything that humankind or this planet, it'll be worse, the worst thing that's ever happened. I don't think people are understanding. I mean, I don't know how they can not understand when they look at the Grand Canyon and see how the earth can literally be shredded apart, and they see, the sea creatures on the mountaintops, that the earth could be utterly flooded and humans almost extincted. But for whatever reason, they can't believe that big global size events can happen. But this is what Isaiah says. It's right here. This is my playlist. I'll put this down there too. I'm not the only one who has had dreams of those planets or this extraplanetary system. So here's about 100 or so I put in a playlist, over the years, of people all around the world. Essentially seeing this, see here, look, dream of a rogue planet right here. And that's exactly what I was saying with the stripes and everything. So when God broadcasts something like this, we might ought to take heed to it. I'm not the only one who has seen this. So anyway, here's Isaiah 24, 19 through 23. The earth is shaken violently. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a hut. So it will happen in that day that the Lord will punish the hosts of heaven on high and the kings of the earth. And they will be gathered together like prisoners in a dungeon, and will be confined in that prison. And after many days they'll be punished. So for me, that says the kings of the earth are who? The Illuminati, this ruling class of elitists. They've got their bunkers everywhere. They're all set up. They've got hospitals and schools and movie theaters, and they think they've got it all. They've got all the storage and all the medicine and all the hardened technology. So if there's EMPs, like they'll be all right. Nuclear blast, whatever. They think they're going to be okay. But the Bible says that they'll be gathered together, and that will be their prison. That will be their dungeon. So they will be trapped in there. So I don't know if it's that lava goes around and seals them in, and then hardens and seals them into the earth, or, if it's just their mechanisms are crushed by all the earthquakes or whatever. But it says they will go down. It says that they will, go into the caves and stuff and say, hide us from the face of the Lord, when he comes. And so they'll go into their caves. But this says that they will be trapped in those bunkers, that those will become their catacombs. And then Luke 21, 25 through 26 says, there will be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and on the earth dismay among nations, in perplexity at the roaring of the sea and waves, men's hearts failing them for fear of the expectation of the things which are coming upon the world, for the powers of the heavens themselves will be shaken. And of course, that's right there. It's really clear. Those are the planetary changes. There will be signs. There will be signs in our sun and the moon and the stars. A celestial cosmic event is coming. It's not just man-made politics. This is big, folks. And when this event comes, you can see the dreams and visions of the tsunamis. People are reporting dreams and visions from the Lord of tsunamis on every coastline, East Coast, West Coast, every continent. It's everybody, everywhere are being told, basically get away from the coastlines, because the earth itself, the entire whole earth, is going to be wobbling and shaking. A global earthquake, and the water splashing out of those basins, out of the oceans and over the coastlines. And a lot of the coastlines are going to be completely wiped out. I will put all those links down below. I recommend everybody check them out. Okay, I hope that helps somebody. I love you guys. God bless you.